It is end of April, and I have been out for a while. I took a trip to the Caribbean with my wife, and while we were there, the lawn did what it did, and there was nothing I could do because I was enjoying a little vacation time, hence the tan. I don't know if you can tell. Maybe if I step out here in the sun a little bit. Yeah, right. 10 days in the Caribbean, got to enjoy some ocean and sand and snorkeling. It was a good time. But now I'm back, and it's springtime in Texas, and we're all dealing with a lot of different issues right now, whether it be the lawn not waking up because of our crazy temperatures. I think last night it got down into the 40s. We've got weeds popping up. We've got the Bermuda maybe waking up slow in certain areas. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I'm doing. I don't have any miracle cures here, but knowing my lawn now for over, gosh, what has it been, over 15 years I guess I've been here. I've kind of identified some things that I can do to help the lawn out a little bit. So before I get started, I hope you guys can see this shirt. I don't know if it's going to come out on here. I drink things and I mow. I think that's appropriate for most of us weekend warriors. So anyway, we're going to take a little walk around the yard here. I've got a little bit of crabgrass breaking through, and I just wanted to kind of show you guys what that looks like. So I'm going to flip the camera around and make sure my shadow's not in the way here. So you can kind of see, I've got it over here. You can see where it's been knocked back a little bit, but that's part of dealing with spring. The other area, and I hit this with sledgehammer before I left, and we can kind of see, let me see if I can find some areas where you can kind of see it here where it knocked back some of the sedges, and there's quite a bit of it that it killed, but just didn't have a great kill off, as you can kind of see all the sedges over in this whole area. So I'm going to be treating again with sledgehammer. It does usually take a couple applications, and then I'm going to go with quinclorac for the crabgrass that's breaking through, and that should give me a little bit of peace of mind on what's happening with the weeds that are kind of popping up. I got a couple broadleaf weeds, so I'm hoping that I can just hit them. Usually I'm not too worried about broadleaf. I'll show you what I've got over here. Somewhere in the lawn here I've got some. And then the other issue that I have is I think I'm starting to get a little bit of fungus that's kind of showing up, and I'm going to show you what that kind of looks like. As you can see, there's kind of just a little bit of a brown hue, and I typically fight fungus just up in this area, and it kind of works its way around in here. So I'm hoping to get down maybe some Scott's Disease X, and then I'll use another treatment probably in about 5 to 7 days to kind of hit a double action on it. The other thing that in my last video that I kind of pointed out was I was fighting some Dallas grass. Obviously you can see it's still not winning, but you can see that it's definitely struggling, and it's just a tough grass to fight. I use the Pro Plugger. You can kind of see the Pro Plugger holes. The Bermuda is starting to grow in along with the Dallas grass, and I'm going to probably come back in here and then hit these ones with that Pro Plugger again, trying to just knock it back a little bit more, and do a little bit of fighting there. And then the other thing I have is this area right here is just a little bit lower, and so I'm going to probably come in. I have a little bit of sand and dirt, and I think I'm just going to do a little bit of leveling just to kind of help fill in some of those holes that I pulled, to just kind of level it out a little bit more. But this is just kind of a low area anyway, and I can maybe try to wash it or get it to level itself out a little bit. This maybe show you guys a little bit more of kind of how that yellowing is happening right here, and I believe I do have a little bit of fungus that I'm fighting there. So gone for a couple days, and these are the kinds of things that you guys can run into. You know, when you come back from a trip, it's never fun to find them. Oh, I got some ants too. I've treated twice for ants this year, and so I was a little bit surprised to see them, and it looks like they may be fire ants. So I want to make sure I get something down to help them. Here's a broadleaf weed that's popped its head up. Mind you, I did do pre-emergent this year. I thought I did it in time. You're never going to 100% get these things, so sometimes it can be a little bit of a fight. But once this Bermuda really kicks in, and we've got some pretty nice temperatures coming in the next week or so, we're going to be, you know, I think our lows are going to be upper 60s, low 70s, and then we're going to be in the 80s a lot. So it should be really kicking this Bermuda in. We just got almost 2 inches of rain the last couple days. Here's a really good example of the sedge hammer hitting the sedges. So you can kind of see all that brown in there is the nutsedge that it killed, and really knocked it back right in there as well. But you can also still see quite a bit of them in here. So I tried to spot treat it. I always hate doing too crazy in the spring when the Bermuda's waking up. I hate using negatives, but the sedges have been bad this year, and if you guys are experiencing them, the best you can do is just keep hitting them. I might even use Image Kills Nutsedge. It's just a different form to kind of go after it, and I do have a little bit of POA that's still hanging around, which I wouldn't mind getting rid of. With all that said, the lawn hasn't been mowed in almost 2 weeks, and so I'll be giving it a mow. I'm going to put down my first treatment of fertilizer. I think I got a Lesco 2405, I believe. We'll take a look at that, and I'll film putting it down. It's my first time using it, and so I'm excited to hit the lawn with some fertilizer with this nice weather, and see if we can't get it to pop. So got some work ahead of me: edging, mowing, putting down fertilizer, all the good things that are ahead of me, and stuff that I enjoy getting out here and doing. So stick around. I'll film what I can, and we'll come back when it's all said and done, and I'll let you know if I find anything else, and we'll kind of talk about what I'm going to be doing over the next week or two. So here we go. Cheers. Little bourbon 7 after a good day of work. So I did a lot. I cut, I edged, weed eated, or mowed, cut, whatever. I put fertilizer down. We put fungicide down, image down, cleaned the pool, did all the honeydews. It was beautiful, 74 degrees or something, 76 degrees today, so could not complain. Sorry about the train in the background and the wind noise, pool noise. So the lawn's in pretty good shape. Definitely have some trouble spots. Before I move on, here's the fungicide I used. I had this left over from last year, so I just finished it off and treated that one area. We'll kind of walk out there and take a look. Treated the one area that I tend to have problems with fungus, and as these temperatures are going to change and we're getting the rain, I know I'm going to get brown patch eventually. So hopefully I got a little bit ahead of it or caught it in time. Here's what it looks like mown. So this is the area that I fight the fungus every year. But looks pretty good. Afternoon sun, 5 o'clock. Stripes are kind of showing up. Pretty happy with it. But I did put down image. Sorry about that. I did put down image only because I had POA annual and nut sedge that I still had breakthrough on. So it takes a lot longer when you use image, but I just treated like 14 days ago, so I feel like that's a pretty safe herbicide to use, you know, this time of year, and especially, you know, the Bermuda's still kind of waking up. So here's another look at the yard. So I'm probably cutting really close to 1/2 inch. I've raised it up a little bit from where I was cutting my scalp at, and I think I'm going to leave it here for a while and just see how the grass responds. I think I was closer to 5/8 last year, which would have been where I was kind of scalping at. I just can't go much lower than that. But the lawn looks like it's taking it pretty well, and I think that's going to make it stripe up pretty nice, which I do like. I mean, if there's one thing when the neighbors come over, the family comes over, is they always comment on, how do you get those stripes in the yard? So one thing I wanted to address today, I've seen a lot on social media, Facebook, the lawn forums, all those kinds of things, is can you stripe Bermuda, or how do you stripe Bermuda? Do you have to cut it short, cut it tall? Do you have to have a perfectly level lawn? I can tell you my lawn is nowhere near perfect. And so, you know, having a real mower with that front roller on it has given my lawn the best cut it's ever had. My Honda HRX, I love it. It's a wonderful lawnmower, one of the nicest rotary mowers I've ever owned. However, because my lawn, I don't know if we can kind of see it here, but this is one of the worst spots. It's really unlevel, and so when I'm coming through this area with 4 wheels, they're going down in little bumps and potholes and dips and whatnot. And so, you know, the one thing that the rotary mower does that is way nicer than the real mower does versus the rotary, is because it's got that front wheel or front roller on it, it keeps it a lot more level. And so anyone that is on the fence, should I get a real mower? Do I need to, you know, put 10 tons of sand down on my lawn? No. I've put down, I want to say probably close to 4 tons of sand on my lawn, and I did that about 2 years ago for some of the major dips that I had, and I still have a lot of really uneven spots, and I would love to level them, and I'm planning on doing it at some point. But my real mower handles it way better than the rotary mower. So if you're on the fence or you're humming and hawing about getting a real mower because you think you have to have a level lawn, it's kind of the opposite. I would be more worried about hills. If you have a hilly yard, or you have steep slopes that you have to go up, reel mowers struggle in those areas. My front of my house, my whole front area, we'll walk up there, it's got a pretty good slope on it. And if I had a, you know, Toro or John Deere or Jacobson greens mower with that big steel drum, I think it might be a little bit more difficult to cut versus having like the California trimmer or a McLean that has that rubber wheel on the back that actually kind of gives you some traction to go up and down or left to right. Kind of gives you the freedom to do it either way you want. So let's walk out here for a second. I haven't walked out in the front yard for a while with you guys. This Bradford pear has been unbelievably nasty to me this year. It has dropped more of the non-fruiting. Let me show you one here. These little guys, I mean, I've got them everywhere. If you see all the little dark spots in the front lawn, I have used my rotary mower and bagged. I think I filled up at least 2 80-gallon black garbage bags just in my front lawn. Just it's been nasty. So anyway, the slope on my front, you know, the Cal trimmer has a rubber drive wheel on the back, and I think that really kind of lends it to be a little bit better when we're talking about going up these slopes. So I don't know how well it shows up in here, but if you see how my truck is actually angled, that slope is pretty severe. That's a pretty nice dominate stripe right there, right? Holy cow, looking good. And so, you know, one thing to consider if you're thinking about getting a reel mower would be, hey, how bad is my slope? And, you know, is it something that I'm gonna fight? Now, one thing you could do versus going up and down, you could do at an angle, or you could do left, you know, just go horizontal with the slope, and that would make things a little bit easier. However, I kind of like to vary my cuts every time I do them, and so, you know, that's just something to consider. But, you know, again, if you're thinking about getting into the reel mowers, I would tell you jump in. Don't be afraid, unless you have bad slopes, hills. You're just gonna struggle, or tight spaces. That's the other one. These things are not light. You know, they weigh 100+ pounds for the California trimmer, and that's a 20-inch. So when you get into these Toros, the Jacobsons, they even weigh more, and so they're just a lot harder to kind of manhandle than these like the McLean or the True Cut that are a little bit more residential. Here's a quick look at the front areas. Greening up really nice. I scalped the hell out of it. I took it down to the lowest setting I could, and you can see right out in that area. It's recovering, but boy, it took it right down to the dirt. So that's the front. I don't own this. This is the city's property over here. One of the neighbors takes care of all this and plants the flowers. It looks really pretty. Interestingly enough, remember I sodded this last year, and you can see this Bradford pear. I'm thinking of taking this whole limb off just to kind of give it a little bit more light throughout the day, although it does get quite a bit in the afternoon. But that grass is still struggling in there, and this area always struggles, but it's where everybody walks up and basically enters the house. So one last look at the vanity strip. She just had her lawn mown today, and he doesn't scalp it. He's a super nice guy. But you can see where I took mine down to 5/8, bumped it up close to about a 1/2 inch right now, and that looks pretty fantastic. You guys want to see something funny? So I used quinclorac at the beginning of the year, and she had St. Augustine planted back here, and you can see, look at what the quinclorac did to the St. Augustine. So if you're trying to get rid of St. Augustine in your yard, quinclorac is your friend. Obviously I missed some areas when I was spraying, but it just wiped it out. So I'm hoping maybe the Bermuda will come back in. If not, that St. Augustine will creep its way back over. So that's pretty much the update. We used the Lesco fertilizer. It was a 24011. First time I used it, really liked it. Honestly, I'll show you a video here of putting it in my Scott's Elite spreader. Sorry, going back out of here. It's pretty noisy up front. But the prill size is really nice, and I put the Scott's Elite spreader on 6, and probably put down close to 3/4 to a pound of N down, and that's the first fertilizer we put down. And so, you know, if I can get even greener than what it is right now with no fertilizer, going into this little hot peak that we're gonna have for the first time, I think the lawn's gonna really jump out of the ground now, and I think we're set up for a pretty good year. I'm kind of glad I held off on throwing fertilizer down early like I did last year. So anyway, that's the update. I hope you guys liked the videos. I hope you learned something. I hope I showed you some of my problem areas and how I'm tackling them, and maybe that helps you. If I haven't said it, if you haven't given me a like, please do. It really helps with the algorithm. I think I'm up over 400 subscribers now, which is pretty cool. I never really set out to be a YouTube TV star or whatever, a YouTube star. A lot of this is just documenting for me. I like the video vlogs. I go back and watch my own videos to see what I could have done better the year before, or what I did that was successful, and the products that I bought that probably I didn't need. And you know, you kind of learn, and it's nice just to have a video library of everything that I've documented, and I know you guys enjoy it as well. So if you haven't subscribed, I try to put out a video at least every 2 weeks, just kind of checking in and you know, showing the progress. I've got a couple updates I got to do to the cowl trimmer, and I really haven't talked about the rotary scissors, which I'm on the fence if I absolutely love them. I really like them, and so I'll do a video on kind of my thoughts on the rotary scissors now that I've had them coming up on a year. So I look forward to that. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I hope your spring is going fantastic, and how we always like to end it with a drink. I drink, I mow. I think that's right. But I also loved being in the lawn, and I hope to see you there soon. Have a good one.